Her car had barely stopped at the red light when she heard the siren behind her, short, angry, and way too close. She looked in the mirror and saw the cop waving frantically, like she'd robbed a bank instead of driving her own car. Before she could roll down the window, he was already shouting, "Step out. Now. There's no way this is your vehicle." People turned to look. Traffic slowed. He yanked the door open without warning and grabbed her arm like she was some thief caught fleeing. She stayed calm, even as he barked, "You think you can fool me? A car like this, with plates this clean." She tried to explain, "Officer, you're making a mistake," but he tightened his grip, almost proud of the attention he was getting. "Save it. Keys on the ground. Hands behind your head." His partner whispered, uneasy, "She doesn't look dangerous," but the officer snapped, "I know what I'm doing." He didn't. Because when she finally stepped out, slow and steady, the sunlight hit the polished metal on her sleeve, decorations he had never seen up close. The officer's voice broke as his eyes followed the shine upward to the eagle pins on her shoulder. His hand slipped off her arm. "Ma'am, is that a colonel's uniform?" For a moment, the whole street went silent. Cars waiting at the light stopped honking. Even his partner froze, staring at the medals lined across her chest like he'd just seen a ghost wearing dress blues. She didn't raise her voice. She didn't need to. She looked him straight in the eyes and said, calm and sharp, "You just handcuffed a full colonel on her way to a briefing." The officer staggered back, almost tripping over his own feet. "And no, this can't be real. You were driving too confidently." She lifted an eyebrow. "That's your reason for an arrest." His partner whispered, "Sir, her rank outranks half our precinct." The lead cop snapped, "Shut up. Uniforms can be bought." She sighed, reached into her pocket with slow, deliberate movements, and handed him a card. Not a driver's license. A Department of Defense clearance badge. His hands shook as he held it. "Colonel Morgan Hale," he read out loud, and his voice cracked at the next line, "Counterintelligence Command, Level 7 access." She gently pulled the badge back and said, "Next time, look before you grab someone." He swallowed hard, sweat rolling down his neck. I need to call this in." She leaned in just a little, her voice a quiet threat. "Please do. I'd love to hear you explain to your supervisor why you arrested a decorated officer for too nice a car." But before he could touch his radio, her phone buzzed. She glanced at it, expression tightening. Then she said something that made both officers go pale. "My base just got notified that someone tried to access my car's tracking system. That means you weren't the first one watching me today." The lead cop's lips parted like he wanted to speak, but no words came out. His partner stepped back from the cruiser, eyes darting around the street as if the real threat was suddenly somewhere else. Colonel Hale locked her phone and slipped it back into her pocket with a controlled calm that scared them more than any yelling could. She stepped a little closer, lowering her voice. "Tell me honestly, were you following me before you hit the siren?" The younger cop shook his head fast. "No, ma'am. We just saw the car and he thought." She cut him off with a look. "I wasn't talking to you." The lead cop stiffened, guilt flickering across his face. I noticed your car yesterday. It was circling the block. I thought it looked suspicious." She finished. "Or just expensive." He had no answer. She exhaled slowly, then pointed to the curb. "My car's tracking log shows someone tried to ping my location exactly 3 minutes before you pulled me over. Whoever it was knew where I was headed." The younger cop's voice dropped. "Someone hacked a military officer's car." She didn't reply. She walked to her trunk, placed her thumb on a hidden scanner, and the lock clicked open. Inside were 2 black cases, unmarked, heavy, and not something any civilian would ever have access to. Both cops stepped back. She opened the smaller case, revealing a sleek encrypted tablet. The screen lit up instantly with a flashing alert. She frowned. "Great. They're still tracking me." The lead cop's voice trembled. "Ma'am, who's they?" She glanced up at him, cold, focused. "The man I'm hunting. The same one who planted a device under a colonel's vehicle last week. The same one who now knows I'm out in the open." The younger cop's face drained of color. "Someone planted a device on you." She nodded, then looked around the street. "And if he's watching me right now?" Her eyes narrowed at a dark SUV parked across the road, engine running, windows tinted too deep. He knows exactly who you two are as well. The younger cop instinctively stepped behind her, like standing near her was the safest place in the whole street. The lead cop, suddenly less brave than 5 minutes ago, kept staring at the dark SUV. The engine was running, but nobody inside moved. No door opened. No window rolled down. It was like the vehicle was breathing, quiet, steady, waiting. Colonel Hale didn't blink. He never shows his face until he's ready, she said, her voice tight but steady. And if that car is here, he's already moved to the next phase. The younger cop whispered, next phase of what? She answered without looking away from the SUV. Extraction. The lead cop's knees almost buckled. Extraction of, who? Not you. She finally turned to him, and the look in her eyes made his skin crawl. He tried to kidnap a major last month. Failed. He's getting desperate. Anyone who interferes with my route becomes a target. The younger cop gasped. Interferes. But we didn't mean. She cut him off. Intent doesn't matter to him. Appearance does. At that exact moment, the SUV's headlights blinked twice, slow, deliberate, like a signal. The lead cop took an instinctive step back. What does that mean? She grabbed her uniform jacket, tightening it. It means he just marked all of us. The SUV suddenly rolled forward a few inches, enough to make the pavement hum. The younger cop panicked, reaching for his gun. Ma'am, we need backup, our entire precinct. No, she said sharply. If you call them, you'll put every responding officer in danger. This man doesn't fight fair. He doesn't fight clean. And he doesn't miss. The SUV's engine growled louder. Then, in one smooth motion, the driver's window slid down a few inches, just enough for them to see the edge of a glove gripping something metallic. The lead cop whispered, "Is that a weapon?" Colonel Hale stared, jaw tight. "That's not the weapon," she said. "That's the remote." The younger cop swallowed hard. "Remote, for what?" She took a slow breath. "For whatever he planted under my car, or yours." The younger cop froze, his hand hovering uselessly over his holster. The lead cop stumbled back, eyes darting between the SUV and his own patrol car like he expected it to explode any second. Colonel Hale didn't panic. She scanned the ground, the sidewalk, the angle of both vehicles, calculating something they couldn't even imagine. "Don't touch your radios," she warned, her voice low. "If there's a trigger device nearby, any strong signal could set it off." The younger cop's voice cracked. What do we do then?" "Just stand here and wait for him to." She raised a hand, silencing him. Instantly. Because the SUV's engine suddenly cut off. Silence. A thick, suffocating silence. Then the driver's door cracked open just an inch. Not enough to see a face, just a sliver of black clothing and a gloved hand holding the remote tighter. The lead cop whispered shakily, He's getting out." "No," she murmured. "He's testing us." The younger cop shook his head. "Testing? How?" She didn't look at them. She kept her eyes on that open door. Seeing who panics first, who runs, who reaches for a weapon. He learns people's fear before he attacks. The lead cop's voice trembled. "You're telling me we're standing in the middle of a trap?" "Yes," she said calmly. "And the only thing keeping him from pushing that remote is the fact that he doesn't know what I've already prepared." The younger cop blinked. "Prepared? You planned for this." She finally turned to them, lowering her voice even more. "I don't ever wear a uniform in public unless I expect trouble." Before they could process that, she slowly lifted the encrypted tablet from her case. The screen glowed with a pulsing red dot, positioned exactly under her own vehicle. The lead cop felt his stomach drop. "That's under your car. Oh God, that means..." But Colonel Hale wasn't looking at her car anymore. Her eyes were locked on the SUV. "No," she said quietly. "That red dot moved. It's not under my car anymore." The younger cop's heart almost stopped. "Then, where is it?" She pointed, slow, steady, toward the patrol car they rode in. "It's under yours." Both cops went ghost pale. The SUV door opened another inch. And then Colonel Hale whispered the one sentence that made both officers' knees buckle. "Don't scream. He reacts to sound." The younger cop slapped a hand over his own mouth, eyes watering, trying not to make a single noise. The lead cop backed away from the patrol car like it was a live animal ready to strike. Colonel Hale stepped between them and the SUV, blocking their instinct to run. She kept her voice low, steady enough to cut through their panic. Listen to me. He planted that device for one reason, to control your movements. If you bolt, he'll press that remote before you take 2 steps. The younger cop trembled. We're dead, aren't we? She shook her head. Not if you trust me. The SUV's door eased open a little more. A shadow leaned out just enough to make out the shape of a mask, flat, emotionless, like someone ready to vanish the moment they were spotted. The remote in his hand flashed. Once, twice. The lead cop whispered, barely breathing, he's signaling again, what does that mean? She didn't answer him. Instead, she raised her tablet and tapped a small icon with her thumb. The screen switched to a thermal view of the street, blobs of orange and red lighting up across the pavement. One bright red cluster glowed under the patrol car. Another, smaller, almost invisible, was tucked inside the SUV's wheel well. The younger cop pointed shakily. What's that? He planted explosives on his own car too. She nodded slowly. He always has 2 fail-safes. One for his target, and one for himself. The lead cop wiped sweat from his forehead. Why would he do that? She locked eyes with him. So no one alive can identify him. Suddenly, the SUV engine roared back to life, loud, sharp, echoing off the buildings. The masked man didn't step out. He didn't speak. He simply held that remote up where she could see it, and twisted his wrist slightly, like he was stretching his fingers before pressing the button. The younger cop broke. Ma'am, please tell me you have a plan. She leaned forward just a fraction, the tiniest smirk appearing on her face. I told you. I only wear this uniform in public when I expect trouble. The SUV revved harder. The remote lifted higher. Then, beep. A sharp, electronic chirp rang from her tablet.